You think you're nurturing your child's curiosity, but in reality, you're unintentionally teaching them when to stop. You're doing this in tiny, everyday moments, especially when you think you're being the most helpful. In this video, you'll discover exactly what these habits are teaching your child's brain and why they are making your child less likely to explore. Imagine you're rushing out the door. Your child is struggling to tie their shoes. Their tiny hands are shaking, and they just can't get it right. You know you should wait, but you lean down and do it for them anyway, just to get moving. It's not that you don't understand parenting, it's just that you can't stand the slowness. That moment seems insignificant, but your child's brain just learned something crystal clear. If it's hard, don't bother trying. Someone else will fix it. The problem isn't that single act, it's the fact that you repeat it every single day. In this video, we'll look at these common behaviors, the ones quietly teaching your child to avoid challenges. And remember, your child's brain is learning from your reactions, not your words. You look at the assignment your child just finished and say with a smile, "You're so smart." Your child looks into your eyes, and in that exact moment, a dangerous psychological mechanism is triggered. You think you're building their confidence, but in reality, you're unintentionally creating a cage of pressure for them to maintain that image. Instead of feeling proud of their effort, the child's brain begins to tie their self-worth to the final result. They tell themselves, "I must always prove I am smart." The pressure starts there. As a result, they start avoiding difficult challenges and stop trying new things for fear of being wrong, or losing that smart kid label you've placed on them. You aren't just praising your child, you're setting an invisible standard they are now forced to carry. And when they can't keep up with that standard, how do you react? You think you've controlled your words perfectly when you see your child make a mistake. You don't yell, you don't scold, but you unintentionally let out a heavy sigh and slightly furrow your brow. You tell yourself, "I didn't even say anything negative." However, a child's brain is hyper-aware, constantly scanning for danger signals in your facial expressions. They see everything. In that moment, the child learns a painful lesson. Making a mistake means I am no longer safe. Instead of bravely embracing challenges, they begin to play it safe, only doing what they are certain to get right, just to avoid your frown. You aren't actually teaching your child how to learn from failure. You're teaching them to be terrified of having their flaws exposed. You forgot that children don't just listen to your words, they are reading your subconscious reactions. And even when they are doing well, are you still interfering? You see your child deeply immersed in building Lego, and you can't help but walk over and say, "Wow, that looks amazing." Your child immediately stops and looks up at you. You think you're connecting, but you just severed a vital chain of thought. In that split second, the child's brain shifts from internal flow to seeking external approval. You made it stop. The child learns a silent lesson. The value of what I do depends on an adult seeing it. Consequently, their ability to dive deep into a task withers, and their natural curiosity becomes dependent on your attention. It's not that your child has a short attention span, it's that you just took their concentration away. And when there is no quiet space left for self-discovery, the child loses the drive to even start on their own. You fill your child's schedule from morning to night with classes, activities, and assignments in an endless loop. You think keeping them constantly occupied is the only way to ensure they don't fall behind. However, without any empty space, a child's brain gradually loses the ability to generate its own questions. They become conditioned to being led, and the internal system for self-generating ideas is never activated. Nothing to do. That is the exact moment creativity dies, because the child learns only to wait for instructions, rather than discovering on their own. Boredom is not a problem that needs to be fixed. In fact, the total absence of boredom is the real problem. And when they face a struggle within those activities, do you let them sit with it? You can't stand watching your child struggle, so you lean down and do it for them, just to save time. You tell yourself you're just being supportive, but in that exact moment, your child's brain just stopped. When you bypass the struggle, the child learns a dangerous lesson. When things get hard, just wait for someone else to fix it. This erodes their problem-solving skills and kills their persistence before it even starts. You aren't actually helping them move faster. You are interrupting the very process of learning. And this becomes most obvious when your child asks you a question. Do you give them the answer right away? When your child asks, "Why is the sky blue?" you give the answer immediately, or rush to look it up on your phone. You think providing fast facts is valuable. But the truth is, the process of searching is what actually builds intelligence. The moment you speak, the gap vanishes. The child's brain no longer needs to speculate or trigger a curiosity loop. As a result, their ability to form hypotheses and think independently is stripped away. You aren't teaching your child to understand the world. You are teaching them that they don't need to think at all. These things may seem small, but you are doing them every single day. The real problem isn't that you're not teaching your child enough. It's that your tiny, everyday reactions are teaching them the exact opposite. There are parents who focus on fixing their child's behavior, and then there are parents who are brave enough to recognize their own behavior first. Always remember, your child doesn't learn from what you want to teach. They learn from what you repeat. Was there a moment when you realized you stepped in too soon or answered too quickly? Share that one situation you remember most in the comments. If you want to dive deeper into how these small habits are shaping a child's brain, be sure to follow for the next videos. A child's curiosity never truly disappears. It only goes silent when it no longer feels safe to speak.